We are live. Awesome. So, as you all know, I'm doing this series and I'm talking to all different fans across the NFL. And today I get the pleasure of talking to Tommy. And I will let Tommy introduce himself and give us a little bit of background before we dive into everything that we all should know about his Buffalo Bills. So,
Yeah,
Tommy, let us
hey.
know whatever you want us to know.
So my name's Tommy from Mafia Sports Report. I appreciate you, by the way, having me on today to talk Buffalo Bills football. So been a lifelong fan since 1989. Roller coaster of a ride. It's been being a Buffalo Bills fan, but I love it. I love all sports, but I think Buffalo Bills is like my true passion. And that's why I started a channel, dedicated to the Buffalo Bills. But yeah, that's about it, man. I just, it's not easy, being a podcaster of this team.
Yeah, I don't think it is
Because
easy. Different teams, I feel like it's like a roller coaster. You just
yeah, this is the ultimate. Like I challenge anyone, to tell me any different. Like this is it's been rough, but it's been fun. But man, it just seems like every season it's something.
yeah,
And I mean it
absolutely.
is what it is. But I get to meet a lot of good people along the way doing this. I get to meet a lot of different people like you, and I get believe it or not, I get other content creators from different teams messaging me, and we wind up being friends. So it's pretty cool doing this. But yeah, that's me. I'm from South Florida. I live in Detroit now for the past 7 years. But yeah, that's pretty
Okay.
much where I stand.
So you said since 1989. So
Yeah.
since you're from Florida, live in Detroit, what made you a Bills fan? Where was the moment where you were like, "This is my team"?
Yeah, so always into sports as a kid, just playing sports. Started play, it seems like soccer's the the first sport every kid plays, like
Yes,
on a team,
or
right? Like
basketball,
the,
or
or
basketball.
basketball. Yeah, so soccer was mine. It was like the easiest one. Like your parents are like, you could be the worst player ever, but you can make a soccer team. Like, you're going to make a soccer team, no matter how terrible you are. You'll make the soccer team. So I was actually pretty good at soccer. So played soccer, but I didn't like watching it. That was the one thing I just,
Mhm.
and still to this day, like I'm not like a soccer, but playing it is fun. But anyways, long story short, I played basketball, soccer, football, but I never really paid attention much to um, on TV. And my mom's boyfriend at the time was watching the playoffs, and it was the Bills in the playoffs. And man, they just, I don't know, something about them. This is in
Like,
South Florida too. Yeah, just like, oh, it's a fun team, like Jim Kelly and Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed. And we lost that year. We lost to the Browns in the playoffs. But I didn't, at that point, I was new to it. So I wasn't like, it didn't affect me. It
you didn't
wasn't
care.
like, yeah, it was just whatever. Like, it was a fun team to watch. But then 90 came around, and I was like watching more and more and more. And at that time, you got to remember, there wasn't like direct TV, like,
Yeah, old school.
getting a team in South Florida. Like I didn't get to watch many Buffalo Bills, but if your team was good, which we were,
Yep.
you got more TV time, and we played the Dolphins twice a year. So believe it or not, I got to watch the Buffalo Bills, especially in the
Oh,
early 90s, a lot more probably than if you're a fan of another team, because we were really hot in the 90s, and we played a team that happened to be where I live. So got to see them a lot more than probably, another fan. Let's say someone's a Falcons fan living in Florida at the time, probably weren't going to watch a lot of
yeah,
Falcons
that's a good
football.
point. You
So
know
my
what's
mom,
crazy?
Dolphins fan. Huh?
Okay. I was gonna say, did you
No, go
play
ahead.
Super Tecmo Bowl ever?
Of course. You kidding
Football.
me? Tecmo
So
Bowl,
the Bills,
Super Tecmo.
Sherman and Super Tecmo Bowl is like, I think the other team that compete with them was like the Raiders with like Bo Jackson, Marcus
Oh, dude,
Allen.
Yeah. Bo Jackson was
Anyway,
the
side
best
note.
on Tecmo. Yeah, Tecmo Bowl is. I still play it. I got a system that has like all the Nintendo games. Love it, man. But yeah, Tecmo Bowl, Super Tecmo Bowl. Believe it or not, Jim Kelly was not on that game. He was Bill's quarterback. So like I guess licensing, they could not have it. So Bills quarterback is Jim Kelly, by the way. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, my whole family's Dolphins fans. Hated them. Hated Dolphins fan. Hated the Dolphins. I like that's my number one hated team. Probably because I grew up there and we were a rival at that time. Like Dolphins were a really good football team, and we always wound up in the Super Bowl. And Dolphins fans hated the Bills because we always blew their chance with Dan Marino. Every game. Side note: every game I ever been to, we won. I think I've been
Oh, that's a
to
good streak.
games. Yeah, so I'm 6-0 when it comes to the Buffalo Bills. Me attending a game. I actually went to Buffalo, saw Josh Allen play his rookie year against the Lions. That was really cool, really fun. But yeah, that's how I became a fan, and I just man, it hasn't stopped then. You know, it really had it's been I just got hooked. So you know, but talk about a roller coaster of a ride. Like I said, man, like I came at the perfect time. Super Bowls, man, I'm like, oh yeah,
Yep,
and then
yep.
we lose them,
You
right? And
become
it's
it's normal. Yeah.
heartache, right? Wide right. Like I'll be honest with you too. Out of all the Super Bowls, and I'll say this, I don't. I'll challenge anyone. We should have won the first one against the Giants. Like we were the better team. We had the better quarterback. They had a backup going. I think Hostetler at the time. And we just got cocky. We got cocky going to that game. I think they went out partying or something like the night before. And we didn't play to our best ability. And it came down to a kick and we wide righted it. And every other Super Bowl after that, we weren't the better team. Like Dallas was a very stacked team.
Yeah.
Washington, when they won with that 1 year, you know, Mark Rippon happened to have a really good year. He was not a good quarterback, but
I hate
that
when that
year was
happens.
a phenomenal quarterback. And that
Yeah.
team was phenomenal. And I don't care who you matched up. No one was beating Cowboys, Redskins at the time, the Redskins. And it is what it is. So, and then after that, it was the drought years pretty much. I mean, once, you know, teams started getting old in the late 90s, Jim Kelly retired. And then we had the drought 17 years. It was miserable. It was a joke, but I stuck with them, you know,
Did
and then
were you all
here we
were
are.
you all Bills Mafia during that time, or when did it
No, so
become Bills
Bills.
Mafia?
Okay, so Bills Mafia started. Yes, it started in the drought years.
Okay.
But Bills Mafia wasn't around, obviously, like in the 90s, early 2000s. I want to say Bills Mafia. Bills Mafia started after the Stevie Johnson drop versus Pittsburgh. So
Mm,
Stevie Johnson dropped a touchdown pass that would have won the game. I forget what year it was. It was late 2000s. And dropped a pass. And I think he went on Twitter at the time. That's when Twitter just started. And he was like, you know, why would God do that to me? Like, you know, like just kind of like, and I think something happened where somebody was like making fun of him or something like that. And there was a guy at the time who was called Del Reed. So Del Reed, him and he had a couple other buddies would always go to the games. He lived in Buffalo, tailgate. They made this group name called Bills Mafia. It was very small. It was just them. It was like their buddies. And I think they like defended him on Twitter. And Stevie Johnson said, "Oh, Bills Mafia always has my back." And it kind of just took off from there.
awesome.
And Bills Mafia started growing, and it was kind of a term, and it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then Bills Mafia, believe it or not, years later, so in I want to say 2021, Buffalo Bills actually trademarked.
No, no, they
It's a
should.
crazy. Well, they shouldn't. I mean, it's a long story now. I'm pretty
Oh,
sure
because
Del
it's
Reed.
not
Man, I've
theirs.
never. Right. So I've
Yeah.
never really gotten a deep conversation with Del Reed. And I'm friends with Del Reed now, but not like friends like that. We
Yeah.
talk here and there, but I don't know him like personally. Like we're on this like awesome friendship level, but he's a good guy. But I'm sure
Mm.
they did something for him because if you know, I know a lot of people probably don't watch the Bills, but if you do pay attention a little bit, Buffalo Bills always will include Del Reed in a lot of their promo videos that they
Okay.
do if it's
Fair.
about the Bills Mafia. Um, they also made him fan of the year. Like
Okay.
I think they probably did something on the side because they
Yeah.
did technically take the idea and trademark it. So if Del Reed would have trademarked the idea, which he probably never thought about it, he didn't probably think it would get where it got.
Yeah.
I don't think Buffalo Bills could have done that. So long story short, I'm sure they work together on something to make it right. Because I'm gonna tell you, when that happened, because it was a big story, Bills Mafia was pissed because they saw a big $1 billion business taken from this guy that started
Right.
it, and they
I
just
can see
stole it
that.
in a way. But
Yeah.
Del Reed was like, "Hey, whoa, whoa, whoa!" So hey, they didn't steal. So
So
that's
let's just assume that they worked out something that
I
was
believe they did.
beneficial.
I believe they did. It was just it's funny how things work though. How like I said, like something like that could be taken because the company sees the profit
Yeah.
and what it could, because really it's about money for that, to trademark that, or else they wouldn't, because Bill's Mafia in reality is us. Bill's Mafia is family. It's the
Yeah.
fans. Um, it's, so they just took it. So they just saw dollar signs, and I love my team, but that, I mean, it's just reality. I look at things. I try to be real with everything I talk about. But yeah, but Bills Mafia is, for me, is, and of course every fan base is going to tell you their fan base is the best, and I
Of
understand that,
course.
but
Listen,
I
I'm a
feel
Steelers fan, so you
yeah,
know how,
yeah,
like, I mean,
yeah. I just feel like Bills Mafia has gone through a lot,
Mhm.
as fans, one, and I feel like if you look around, like charity wise, man, like Bills Mafia steps up all the time
Yeah, I
on
agree with
other
that.
teams, and like we've done, and I don't feel like our fan base is like this super cocky, arrogant fan base. Like we're just like other, of course every fan base is gonna be you know, oh, our team's the best. I get that, like, you know what I mean, but I don't feel like our fan base is so over the top, in
No,
your face,
I
talking
agree.
trash, like, and I've never been that way. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't know, man. I just think I love Bills Mafia. I love everything we do. Um, but that's how Bills Mafia got started.
I love
I know I went
I love
a
that.
little bit down a little different
Oh,
road, but
no, it's fine. I
it's
like the
yeah,
story. So I
yeah.
want to talk a little bit about like the exciting things that are happening of like, so I would love to know how you feel Bills did during free agency.
Mhm,
I know that the Bills had like some salary cap things, and so they ended up having to release a couple of people that maybe they
mhm.
loved and the fan base loved. But how do you feel like
Yeah.
overall they did in free agency?
They did what they could. And remember, they were, salary cap.
Yeah.
Salary cap's real, I guess. I mean, listen, I know it's real, obviously, but people get caught up in that. Sometimes it could always. Let me tell you, man. If a GM wants a player, if he wants it, he can go and get it. There's always a way. It's around the salary cap. Um, our GM does a really, really good job with that, though. But it is what it is. Sometimes you got to pay. You got to pay your quarterback, right? You got a
You do.
franchise
Yep.
quarterback. You're going to pay him. That's just the way it goes. You got yourself a top receiver in the league. You're going to have to pay him.
Yep.
Defense, same thing. Like, so, money's going somewhere, and then you got to figure out. And that whole thing is, okay, now who do I pay next? Who do I pay then? And you run out of money, and then you have to let certain people go. Certain, um, veterans go that, fans may not want to hear, but it's how it works, man. It's a business. Um,
Is there one
so
player that you feel like the fan base was a little bit more, like, heartbroken about? Like, heartbroken
um,
is kind of dramatic, but you know what I mean? Like, that was kind of like, we saw
this
the
off
writing on the
season,
wall, but it sucks."
I would say maybe Jordan Poyer, maybe because he's been here since 2017, so he's actually, him and Micah Hyde were they came the first year when Sean McDermott was hired as head coach. So they were there the
Was
longest. So
Poyer on the, Browns before he came to the Bills?
yeah,
Okay,
exactly. So Jordan
okay.
Poyer played for the Browns. He was a corner. We made him into a safety, and he really, really did well. And then Micah Hyde came from Green Bay, and he
Okay.
was a safety there. And they just really, really worked well together. But both those guys came in the 2017 season, which was actually the season we broke the playoff drought. It was
Mm.
Sean McDermott's first year. We got in. Tyrod Taylor was our quarterback. Nate
Oh,
Peterman, terrible. Nate Peterman was our backup. Um,
was
and
that the year that you all had the weird game against the Texans in the playoffs where it was like,
no, that was 2020.
oh,
That
okay.
was
You know
I'm
what
sorry.
I'm
I'm sorry.
talking about?
That was 2019. I apologize. So that was,
Okay.
yeah, that was Josh Allen's second year.
It was just
We were
weird.
up. we were up and we had that touchdown and halftime that
Mhm.
the ref came out and he's like, no touchdown. Which, by the way, I still think that's the biggest bullshit ever. And I'll tell you why real quick. I know we're going down a rabbit hole, but in the NFL, if you're, at least from what I've been watching all my life, on a kick return, if the ball goes into the end zone, normally
Mhm.
a player will wave it off and the ref will blow his whistle. That's it. It's over, right? You watch. Come on, anyone watch football? You know that, right? Or he'll catch it and kneel it. That's it. You can't touch him. Nothing. This guy just walked away. He didn't wave. He didn't do nothing.
Yeah.
All right, we picked it up. Ref touchdown, and that is to me the correct call.
Yeah.
And then they call touchdown. I'm like, oh yeah, guy made a mistake. That's clear. No, I apologize. He didn't do that. He caught the ball and threw it at the ref, and the ref's like, whoa,
Yeah.
and it bounced off him. Yeah, that to me, it's a
You
blazing
didn't
lie.
do the right
It's
thing.
live.
Yeah.
He
So
did not. He didn't kneel. He didn't wave it off. And then a ref in a black shirt came out of nowhere, and they changed the call. And it was kind of like, for me, it went kind of downhill from there. But we just weren't ready. Josh was young. And yeah, the game kind of spiraled out of control, and we lost. It is what it is. But
it
yeah,
just is. Okay. Well, and so how do you feel about the draft? So, my
yeah.
question is who was your favorite pick? How do you feel? What do you like how do you feel after it was over? Cuz I feel like during everybody always panics. After when you're able to like look at the guys and like see
Yeah.
how you did, some people usually take a deep breath and go, "Okay, this isn't that bad."
Yeah. So listen, I went to the draft, and
Oh,
I'll
fun.
never do that again because uh, oh,
Did you go
Dan,
all days or just one day?
I one day I went Friday night. I'm sorry, Thursday night, and the problem is like I guess I don't know what I was thinking, but you got to stand when you got
The
to
whole
stand there
time.
the whole time, right? The whole time. I'm a big guy. I'm 6'2", 290. And I'm like, it's like 5:30, and we're like packed in like a sardine, man. There's no, I'm telling you, when I'm telling you, there's a lot of people, or a lot of fucking people. Like we broke a record for the amount of
Yeah, I
people
saw
that
that.
attended the draft. So we inched our way as close as we can. It was great. Like if there were seats, man, we would have been like set. But there, no. And I'm like, it's 5:30, and now it's 6:30, and I'm like, there ain't no way in hell. This thing's not even starting until 8. It ends at midnight. I cannot. I told my buddy, I'm like, hey, no way. I can't do it. I can't stand here for another 8 hours, like 7, 8 hours. I'm not doing it. So my buddy's like, I'm staying. I'm like, dude, I'm gonna backtrack out of here. So I wound up watching it at the casino. I walked to the casino, and then we didn't even draft. We
Yeah, you
traded our,
traded. Yeah, yeah.
we traded down.
Well,
So
and
uh,
yeah, the trade, and then the trade, I'm like, trade with anybody but Kansas City. Come on,
yeah.
Bill.
Well, so the thing is, and of course I felt that way at first too, but hearing Brandon Beane's press conference on why, basically they were the team that we wanted out. We wanted out of that pick anyways. I don't think he was ever planning on drafting in the first round
Oh,
unless
okay.
something crazy like Brian Thomas Jr. happened, which was not going to happen.
Right. Okay.
Um, and I don't think he saw Worthy or Leggett as first round grades, and I don't think he wanted them anyway. So Kansas City offered us a third, and I don't think any other team did. So he kind of just said, you know what, I'm gonna take I'm gonna take the best deal available. I didn't want I didn't want that guy anyways. So you know, in what I would have wanted, yeah, I would have wanted, us to draft back-to-back receivers. But I was all up on Keon Coleman way before anybody else. Back in March, I did a video on my channel about why the Buffalo Bills should draft Keon Coleman.
That's
So,
awesome.
and I did one the year before on why the Buffalo Bills should draft Osiris Torrance, and they drafted Osiris Torrance. So I'm
There
two
you
for
go.
two on
So basically, they're
videos I
watching
did
your
on
channel
players
and
that should be
taking.
going to the Buffalo Bills. But I listen. I wasn't crazy about our draft, but I also don't hate our draft. I understand, we filled a lot of holes. Keon Coleman, I think, is going to be better than what a lot of people think. Love his personality. I love his size, 6'4".
The
He's
videos
probably the
are
best
hilarious.
50-50 ball catcher in college. The guy can go up and get any throw, which is something that the Buffalo Bills needed. We led the league in drop percentage over the last 3 years, so we needed a sure-handed guy, a guy that could get the highly contested catches, and this is the guy. The other guy, Cole Bishop, I think he could be something special. He's a safety. We'll see. I like the Dwayne Carter pick, by the way, 3rd round. That is the Chiefs' pick. He's a defensive tackle. Ray Davis is another one I really, really like. He reminds me of Zach Moss, but I think he has better vision and he has better contact balance. And I think he could be a good RB2 and something that we need because I like James Cook, but he's not a bigger back. He's not a guy that's going to break tackles. It's not what he does. He doesn't run in between the tackles very well. Ray Davis can be that guy. We also picked up SVGs, like I call him, Van Pran, a center. He's going to take over, hopefully, at center. Mitch Morse, as you know, got released. This guy could be our future center. And then we got a guy named Javon Solomon, who's an edge, who I think he had 16 and a half, led the nation. He's not a great run defender, but, man, the guy can get to the quarterback. And we got him in round 5. And then we got a guy named Daquan Hardy, who's a corner, who ran the 5th fastest time in the Combine. So 40-yard time. So I like our picks. And we also got like 13 next year. So we also traded during this draft to acquire more picks. So we have some comp picks coming next year, and we have some picks that we got in trade. So Brandon Beane is just building, I feel like the right way. But yeah, I thought our draft, if I were to give it a grade right now, probably a B.
Okay. What concerns do you have this year?
Oh, you're on mute.
Oh, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me?
There you go.
I was going to say what,
or maybe it's me. I can't. Hold on. Uh-oh. I wonder if it's my end. All right, go ahead.
Can you hear
me? Say
me?
something? Yeah, I can hear you. It was mine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, because I said something during and you didn't stop, and I was like, I don't know if you can hear me. I was just saying
issues.
Don't you love it? I love that.
I love it.
2024.
Yeah.
And I was just all I said was like Keon Coleman. Like I've been watching literally any video with his name on it because it's comedy. It's just comedy.
Oh yeah, he's a man. He is a personality. Like I didn't know. See, I didn't know like his personality. I only watched film prior to the draft, like game film. I never saw that side of him until he was drafted. I'm like, man, Bills Mafia, because a lot of Bills Mafia was torn on that pick, and I would say at the time when we drafted Keon Coleman, at the time I would say it was 60-40, maybe 70-30 against the pick, against the selection. But now, if you were to go now and ask, it's probably 70-30 loving the Keon Coleman pick because of his personality and what he's saying. And now, of course, all that has to go onto the field, right? Like
exactly. Yep.
A lot of people could talk the game and be fun, but you got to produce. I think he will. He's 20 years old. He's still learning. He seems like he wants to get to it. So, I have confidence in the kid, man. So I think Bills Mafia is starting to love him, man.
That's good. So my next question would be, what concerns do you have heading into the season? Like, is there a certain position that you're concerned about? Is there just overall team or are you just kind of like, I don't know what to expect this year, so we'll see what happens kind of thing?
Safety is interesting. We lost both, obviously, Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. So we have a brand new safeties back there. And now Taylor Rapp was with us last year, but he wasn't a starter. So he'll be starting. Maybe we'll see. Cole Bishop can get that nod. I forget the other gentleman's name we got from Kansas City. Forget his name, but he's a solid safety. But I would say the safety maybe is a question mark right now. Let's see how how it works out. We got guys returning on injury, which is good. Linebacker Matt Milano, Terrell Bernard. We also got some linebacker depth now that we didn't have so much last year. So I'm happy with that. Offensive line is going to be interesting with McGovern. For now, will be the center. He was our left guard. He's moved to center since Mitch Morse was released, and David Edwards has moved to left guard. But that can change if Van Pratt, the guy SVG, can win the job. If he wins that job, which I hope, because they could put McGovern back at left guard where he did really well with Deion Dawkins next to him. It's never good to shuffle around offensive linemen. Like it's it's like a
It's
chain link,
hard.
right? I always say
Yeah.
if one
I
link
always
is
say
wrong,
I always say
yeah,
they're dancing and they're dancing the salsa. And
yeah,
you got
yeah.
everybody's got to be on the same beat,
You got to be on the same
same
page. Yeah,
rhythm.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. For me, it's like I call it like a chain. Like that's
Yeah.
moving the wheel, right? Like if one link's fucked up on it, excuse my language, then that chain ain't gonna work too well, right?
Right.
It's gonna break, and then then you ain't going anywhere. So,
Yeah.
we'll see what happens. But no, I would say safety right now is maybe. But I know a lot of people are like, well, receiver room. I think our receiver room is fine. A lot of Curtis Samuel is a really good pickup for me. He hasn't had a good quarterback since he got to the NFL.
Yeah.
And he's put up decent numbers. He's like, he plays a lot like Deebo Samuel. He's not as physical, but he can run. He could be a running back. He could be a receiver. Like he could do everything for an offense. And I'm excited to see what he brings to this team.
Well,
Khalil Shakir.
y'all just got Chase
Yeah,
Claypool.
we did, but that's a long. I think I'm not. Yeah, I'll tell you what. If he could become the Chase Claypool of the first 2 years,
I know.
I'm
Listen,
good
I
with
was
it.
being petty. And I don't
Yeah,
he has the potential. He has the potential. He has the measurables. He
absolutely.
has all of the things. It's just
Yeah.
where is it?
Something happened to him. It's weird because if you go back in time with Chase Claypool, I mean, you got to, talking about a guy 6'4", 225, 230 pounds. I think they said he ran like the fifth fastest time for a guy that size in history of combine. So he's in the combine. So he's not like he's slow, and
Right.
he's not a Kelvin Benjamin. He's gifted. He's athletic.
Yep.
He had a really good year. His rookie year, I think he had 890. His
Yeah, we
second year
loved
for
him.
Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he has the upside, but something, maybe a little diva came out too early for him, little
Yeah.
problems here and there, and then boom, off to the Bears, and the Bears are a joke. And that probably didn't help him either.
Right.
Going to a bad team with no quarterback play is never good. It's
The
not going to
worst.
help you.
I
It's
100%
the worst. Yeah, so
agree.
that probably didn't help his career, or whatever. And then he went to Miami, that was stacked last year. So,
Yeah.
this is an opportunity for him to, prove people wrong, to prove himself right, that he could be that guy, and earn a spot on the roster. If not, no big deal. We he's a camp body. You let him go. I mean, it happens in the NFL. It's the way. It's a cheap
Well,
deal. I have no problem with it.
I hope he figures it out. I hope I don't know what it is that he went through, going through, whatever. I
Yeah,
hope this is the year where he's like, this is it. Perfect quarterback situation, perfect city. Like, I just hope this is the
yeah,
moment where he says, oh, I can do this. Who knows? Who
yeah.
knows?
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
So I have two last questions.
Sure.
One is tell me about like who you think will be like the hardest game of the year or a game where I know it's early.
Hmm.
It could be a divisional game. A game that you're kind of like every year this is our hardest matchup or whatever. Like how do you feel about because as somebody that's looking in, I'm not sure what games Bills fans are usually like, "Oh gosh, okay, that it's that team. Here they come,
Hmm.
they're coming in our house again or we have to go there." So I'm just curious to know from your perspective, like who would be that team or what are you thinking about that?
Yeah. So obviously we don't have the schedule out right now, right?
Right.
Schedule comes out next week. Now we know who we're playing.
Yes.
Houston is one of them. That is a very let me pull up actually the schedule. I know Houston is on there. The Lions is
Houston
on
coming
there
to
as well.
town? Or are you going to Houston?
Yes. Yes. So
Nice.
Houston's coming to
Okay.
town. So
Can't wait.
our schedule this year, now mind you, we won't
Right.
know the days and times till next week, but just to run through real quick, it's not easy, right? When you're a good team, unfortunately you get the hardest schedule, right?
Yeah.
And we were one of the better teams in the NFL. So we have the Jaguars at home. They've been a thorn in our side. Tennessee Titans are getting better. We play them at home. Arizona Cardinals, not so worried. 49ers, okay, they went to the Super Bowl. That's a tough team.
Yeah.
The Jets always play us tough. Okay, division games are always tough. New England, not so worried, right? They're going through a total rebuild.
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, as you know, they're a good team. They're going to play
Right.
us tough. And then we got the Kansas City Chiefs at home. Finally got the Chiefs at home. So right there, the home games are not like, I can maybe a couple games there, maybe the Titans, let's say the Patriots, the Cardinals. Other than that, some tough games there away. And I was wrong. So I thought Houston was coming to Buffalo. We are going to Houston.
Okay.
So we got Houston on the road. The Colts, we'll see. I'm not too worried about the Colts. The Rams are actually, they play it tough, depending, some weeks they're better than others, but they're still not a pushover. Seattle, the Jets, once again, Patriots a pushover, in my opinion. Right now, they're rebuild. Miami, and then you got Baltimore and the Lions. So Baltimore improved, obviously. They got Derrick Henry, and I think that's going to be a really, really tough offense to handle. You got the Lions, who are trending up in the right direction, or was really a play or two away from the Super Bowl. And then you got Houston, who played really, really well in the playoffs last year too. So out of all these, I mean, I'm not scared of any team, but I would say intriguing matchup for me. The Houston game, obviously, because there's a lot to it. Stefan Diggs, you got, second year.
Right.
Second year CJ Stroud, who's only getting better. Tank Dell's returning from his injury. Nico Collins is really good. Good head coach, rookie, second year now is not his rookie season anymore as a head coach. So that's going to be and we're playing them on the road. I don't know why I thought we were playing them home, but that's always that's going to be, a tough game. And I think the Dolphins are going to be tough too. And believe it or not, the Jets, and the 49ers. I mean, we have a tough schedule. I mean, really, I'm not going to joke. Every game here. But if you were to put one, I would say it's always going to be the Chiefs right now. Because, yes, the Dolphins, I get it. Like, they're, AFC East and all that. But who's been our thorn, our real thorn in the playoffs? It's really, come on, let's be real. It's the Chiefs, right? And they're good fights, they're good battles. We gave them all we got in the playoffs. We lost by a couple points. It wasn't a lot. They didn't spank us around. But I would say Bills Mafia is probably going to be most hype for that one. Plus, it's finally at home. We've been playing on the road, forever. So a lot of intriguing matchups. Can't wait for the schedule release, because there's a lot of games on there that is prime time games, in my opinion.
I agree.
We could be talking about 5, 6 potentially prime time games, depending on how the NFL feels. But
yeah, I think that's fair. Well, awesome. Those were all the questions I had. I just want to end with anything that you just would like us to know about the Bills, anything that maybe you were thinking I would ask that you wanted to mention, or just anything. Because I just appreciate learning about other people's teams and how other fan bases are thinking about their teams, talking about their teams, and just what you think overall. I talked a little bit about this before. Everyone's kind of excited right now about what they have. It's 0-0. Everyone's either going to the playoffs or winning the Super Bowl. So it's like,
I would say there's a lot of people underestimating us right now. Okay. But Bills Mafia's used to that. We get that every year. Last year, we were a lot of people had us finishing third in the division. We've won the AFC East now for 4 straight years. Okay. And I'm not being cocky. I'm not trying to be like, tooting our own horn or tooting my own. But the reality is this, and just like the Chiefs are, right? The Chiefs are kings of the AFC. They're the kings right now, and just in general, right? It'd be like me going, hey, we're the best. We're going to not, the Chiefs ain't shit. Like, I can't be that. No matter what they lost, whatever happened in the offseason, until somebody knocks them out, they're the rulers of the AFC. And I feel the same way for the Bills in the AFC East. And all these teams, like Dolphin fans getting excited, and listen, I'm not knocking their excitement, but to talk trash like, oh, you guys lost it, now it's over, we're going to be running listen, you haven't, like you said, it's 0-0, but you have to knock us out first. Exactly. I remember for years, the New England Patriots, this is it. They're done. It's over. They ran that East forever.
They
They
did.
ran that East forever, right? Oh, Brady's now 35. Now Brady's 30. So he's not going to. Oh, Super Bowl, AFC. So look, you got to knock us off. You got to earn that. We're not going to just give it to you. We're still a solid team with a solid head coach. I'm not a big fan. I'll be honest with you. I'm not a huge fan of our head coach, but he is a good regular season head coach. I'm confident that he gets us to the playoffs. It's the playoffs is where our coach tends to crumble, tends to
The moment too big.
The moment gets too big for him. I mean, if you look back in every playoff game, we've, especially the 13 seconds, which was a total, in my opinion, coaching meltdown.
Yeah.
And that's on Sean McDermott. Our coordinators also melted down. Like, we just had some really bad moments, and that's a lot of. Listen, the players are also responsible, but I feel like our head coach just, and there's a lot of head coaches, by the way, not just in football, but I always refer to Flip Saunders, rest in peace, but was a coach for the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Pistons. I'm a big Pistons fan, but he was a great regular season coach. He can get you, 60 wins, right?
Yep.
But he couldn't get you to the finals. Like, he could get you as far as he can get you, and that was it. Like, for some reason, he hit a wall. And I feel like our coach that's him. Like, he hits a wall, and it's like he's still trying to figure out.
I wonder what that.
I don't know. It's tough because it's not, like I said, it's not just, and I'm not knocking the guy because, man, he got us out of the drought year. Like, he's a good coach. Like, if you got fired today, there'd be a team calling him in a second, immediately because I felt like he did a good job rebuilding the team, getting it to where it's at. I don't know, because there's been a lot of coaches in history that's been like, and listen, let's be real. Andy Reid was one of those guys for a long time. Andy Reid.
Going to say that. Yep.
Yeah. So it took him a long time to finally figure it out. But of course, it didn't help. It helps getting Patrick Mahomes and all these players, but he's a really good offensive genie. He's a really good coach. Can Sean McDermott get there? I don't know. But from what I've seen, it's not. I gotta be real. I don't think so. Yeah. But my thing is last year too, like with him, and I said this, and everyone's like, oh, you don't know, like, of course you're gonna get people that disagree, and I understand that. Like, everybody has an opinion. But last year, going into the season, a lot of people don't realize, but Sean McDermott, who's a defensive head coach, which once again I also don't like. I prefer an offensive minded head coach, but whatever. He took over as DC. So Leslie Frazier stepped down, and instead of going and get a DC, McDermott did both roles.
He did.
And for me, it's like, damn, dude, like, how are you going to juggle both when you haven't really even proven yourself as a head coach yet to get us over that next hump in the playoffs? Like, I kind of felt like now he has so much on his plate. Like, and really, if you look, if you go back, and if you go back in that, and the playoffs, he made some bad decisions there. Yeah. Like, so
a couple of times, a couple of years. Like, I feel like
he's done weird. It multiple times.
Yeah, because I mean, and I have a Chiefs fan coming on to talk about the Chiefs, but it's like, it's one of those things where the entire world, unless you're a Chiefs fan, is cheering for Buffalo over and over and over. And every year it's like we're all sitting at home, probably all saying the same things, but the coach isn't doing the thing we're all saying. So you're just like, what is going on?
I'll give you a prime example of that game real quick, and of that Chiefs game. So, we're not stopping them right now. Mind you, you also got to play the injuries in. We had no linebacker. We were calling AJ Klein was our linebacker. We called him from home. Like, the dude's like 40 years old. We're like, the dude's on like a vacation. We're like, hey man, get your cleats. We need, like, so kudos to Andy Reid for exposing our linebacker situation and attacking us right in the middle with Kelsey. Kelsey had a freaking great game because we had nobody. There. I felt, McDermott did everything he could to, but you got to have your players, right? So I get that. Like, I'm not knocking him for that. But however, when we couldn't stop him, And there was a certain part of the game where we fake punted on our side of the field, right? And everyone's like, "What the fuck? What are we doing here?" And it was a terrible. By the way, it wasn't even a good fake. It was
No,
terrible.
we all
It was
saw that it was a fake.
guy Damar Hamlin, who hasn't even played barely this year, is your guy. What? So like what? And the Chiefs had a man missing on defense, so they were even short. They didn't even have all guys on the field. We still got. So it was so. I'm like, what? Then we got lucky, got an interception because that was game. By the way, if they scored, game over. Yeah. We got a turnover. I think it was Jordan Poyer, I believe it was, in the end zone. Okay, so we marched down the field.
Was that the turn, or was that the one where the guy fumbled the ball?
Yes, I'm sorry. He fumbled. Yes. So he tried to fumble. Yes. I apologize. Okay. Fumbled the ball, and it went out of the it went out of the end zone. Right. So I apologize. Yeah. So when we drove down the field, by the way, Josh Allen drops a dime to Stefan Diggs, who drops it. Nobody talks. By the way, nobody talks about how terrible. Stefan Diggs had like 10 drops this year. Like he had 8 the year before. I like him. I appreciate what he did here, but he was nowhere to be found in the playoffs ever since his time being in Buffalo. He dropped that pass that was perfect, 80-yard bomb. And he had by the way, most receivers, and we go back in time and I talk about the Stevie Johnson play that started the whole Bills Mafia. He took that shit to heart because he knew it was important.
Right.
Stefan Diggs, when I knew he was clocked out, like Stefan Diggs, I'm not saying didn't bring it, but the problem with Diggs was he didn't love the Bills anymore. And I felt like that passion for playing for the team was gone. So like, that drop didn't really affect him. I felt like he was like, okay. So, either way, we marched down the field and Josh barely missed Khalil Shakir, right? If Jones don't get there, that's a touchdown. So I don't even hate that play, by the way. A lot of people are like, oh, could Diggs wide? No, like go for this. We need a touchdown. They're going to mark. We need the points. So the next play, which I do hate, which was just a terrible play call, Allen throws it away. Now it's 4th down. Okay, you got a long field goal here. Now is it makeable? Sure. But it's still windy. It's still a long field goal. It's on the right hashtag, not necessarily where your kicker wants to kick, at least Bass. So tell me, knowing that the Chiefs have a little under two minutes left. So even if we kick the field goal and make the field goal, the Chiefs have all the time in the world to go back down and win the game, right? Easy. Right. And by the way, they would have, because we weren't stopping them. Instead of going, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to go for it, because even if we miss it, we still got 2 timeouts. And if defense can stop them, we still have an opportunity. But no, we go for the field goal. Now, why the hell would McDermott, knowing that we can't stop the Chiefs, fake punt it just
no clue
minutes back, not go for it on 4th down? That's what made me mad. And then we didn't even stop him on defense after. So it's mind-boggling. Like those are the things that I'm like, okay, man. So what is it? Like you're scared of it, so go for it. Like it makes no sense, because you just said yourself you can't stop him.
Right.
So why are you going for a field goal there? You still got under 2 minutes. They're going to get the ball. You just said yourself, our defense can't stop. So they're going to go down, score, win the game. So why not go for it there? Get a 1st down, kill the clock, go for a touchdown, game over. But that's not.
No, Well, that's
so like shit like that.
Yeah, there's just things that just don't make sense. If you're going to do this, why not do it then? If we're going to do that, why not? But
he did it in a play.
These coaches fall in love with their playbooks, and they forget about situational football and just doing things that make sense. Like I said, we're all at home, probably the fans in the stands, are all thinking the exact same thing.
Oh yeah,
except for the head coach and whoever else is helping call plays. It's like, it's my.
I mean, it really is. I mean, there's so many examples of his. Just what are you doing? I think there was a game we played where he called a challenge, and it literally would have been a 3-yard pickup.
Yeah, because
and
why waste that
he
talent?
wastes and he wastes, yeah, and it wasn't even close. We wasted timeout, and we winded up needing the timeout later, and it was
Of
gone.
course.
Like, so, like, I don't get, like, sometimes he's so, like, just, but I love what he's done here. Like, it's the same time I think he's, like, done great here as far as building this team up and getting this team from the gutter to the top. Like, we're one of the better teams. Like, you can't knock
That's
our
true.
team like that. You know what I mean? Like, I give him that love for that. I just hoping and praying this year, now that we have a defensive coordinator, like we hired within, right? I believe it's Babbage has taken over. And you got, Joe Brady now taking over full-time OC. Now it's
That's
his
true.
playbook. You got to remember too, last year when we got
Didn't they
rid
fire the
of
guy
when we got
halfway
rid of
through?
Ken Dorsey, who by the way, I think he got a bat. I still believe in Ken Dorsey. He's with the Browns now. We'll see where his career goes. But Joe Brady got inherited a playbook that wasn't his, so he kind of had to just kind of use somebody else's playbook. So I think it's going to be a lot of people don't, are underestimating what this guy can bring. It's going to be a
Right.
new playbook for Josh. And if you notice what we've done this offseason and through the draft is we're going a little different now. We're going a lot bigger. We have a ton of guys that are like 6'4" on this team. So it looks like we're going physical, bigger, meaning we're probably going to run more. We're probably going to do a lot more screens. You got 6'4", 6'5" receivers out there if Claypool makes a team. But
Yeah.
Justice Short is 6'4". I don't think he'll make the team. You got Shavers who's 6'4", 6'5". He's on the bubble. We'll see.
Okay,
Claypool, like I
good.
said,
Yeah.
Shakir 6 foot. Now we do have KJ Hamler, who is a short guy, but he's fast. So we have speed. So Hamler's like a 4-3 guy. Curtis Samuel's a 4-3 guy. Shakir's a 4-3 guy. So a lot of Bills are like, oh, we need speed. We have speed.
Yeah.
So
It's just built
that's
it's
not.
just looks different for some people,
It's just
probably.
different, yeah. So and then Dalton Kincaid as well, I think is going to be probably our most targeted. He's going to be our biggest weapon on offense. So I believe he'll get the most targets this year, and he should. And I think probably Keon Coleman might be second, but I'm leaning towards Shakir for some reason.
Okay.
I think Shakir is one of those guys that's trending, and he's a guy that you should look for this year as one of those guys to take a big step forward.
Love that. Well,
Yeah.
those were all the questions that I had. I just appreciate the conversation and learning more. And I love passionate fans that are still like able to decipher what is good and what is not. Because
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes when you're a fan, you're like, we're great. And then you're like, okay, I know we're not really that great. Here's where we're struggling. Here's what we need to work on. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so, and like I've said before, as a Steelers fan, I understand the highest of highs and the lowest of lows and the
Yep.
WTFs and we have Mike Tomlin and half the fan base wants him fired one week and then the other half we're like, please keep him forever. And then the
Yeah.
next
I
day
love
we're like,
Tomlin.
yeah, the next day
Uh,
we're like, if we ever let go of this guy, someone's gonna pick him up in 2 seconds. So we need to
oh,
cherish what we
instantly.
have. So it's like this weird thing that you have to go through as a fan. But you know what? We're
Yeah.
all
And
here.
your coach and our coach are like buddies, man.
They are. They're very
They're
similar
that
too
coaching
in the way they
tree.
coach. Yeah,
They are. Yeah. Yeah. They're
very
good
similar.
friends too, man. But I love Tomlin, man. Tomlin, I don't care what anyone says. Like Tomlin's up there. Obviously Hall of Fame head coach. So
Yeah.
big mistake you guys let Tomlin go, man. Huge, it'll be
I
huge,
always
like
say
unreal.
I always say he's the pillar of just stability. Like,
Yeah.
he's ruined it for me with all of my other teams that I support because he's so stable, and I know exactly what I'm going to get from him, and I
Yeah.
love that. It makes me feel safe. So
Yeah.
so my
I mean,
other
it's
team
honestly, it's like Bill Belichick. The only reason Bill Belichick's gone from it is because he wanted full control. He wanted to
yeah.
be GM. And the problem was he just was not ahead of the time.
Yeah, it was
He was still
time.
trying to do. Yeah, he wasn't current, right? He wanted it his way still, and it just wasn't working right anymore. Like his formula, as far as drafting players he wanted,
Mhm.
it just wasn't happening. But man, talk about a coach who can get the best out of nothing. Like
Yep.
if you look at the team, like players that left the Patriots went on somewhere else. They were not trash, but they weren't
No,
very good.
they
They
weren't
weren't what
very
they
good.
were. Yeah, like he just gets players to play uh, at a better, higher level for some odd reason. That's very tough for a head coach. I feel like Tomlin's the same way. Like he gets his guys no matter what. Like it could be a terrible team. I mean, you guys are.
Every
I
year
honestly
we're
gotta say
supposed to
too.
finish last in the AFC North.
I
Every year. It's like
you guys are in a. I forgot this. That you're Pittsburgh, but you're in a tough dilemma, man. Like I really feel like if I'm a fan, I'm just like what like it's weird. Like if I'm a fan, I'm happy, but yet I'm concerned because and for the quarterback play because it's like okay, you got Russell Wilson super cheap, so I'm like, hey, that's a great deal. Like we got him basically. He got paid somewhere
1.4
else to play
million.
for it, right? Like super cheap, right? And he had a bounce back season last year. He wasn't terrible. He was actually pretty good. And then you got Justin Fields for basically nothing. But here's the dilemma. If I'm a Pittsburgh fan, this is where I'm like concerned. It's like, okay, you got one guy in a 1-year contract and you got another guy's rookie contract going to be coming up or whatever that you're going to have to pay him eventually. So what do you do if Russell Wilson leads you to the playoffs and has a really good
That's
year?
what but you
Right.
know
And then
what? Yeah.
then you got to go, okay, well, we got an aging quarterback and we
Mhm.
got a guy that hasn't proven himself yet. Right? Like, do we pay this guy another 2 years and then pay Fields to stick around? But will
Yeah.
Fields want to stick around
For that,
and
I
wait?
know. I
Yeah.
know.
And then let's say you're like, nah, you know what? We're just going to take a chance with Fields, and we appreciate what you did. And let's say Fields is just not
Not
good.
it.
Let's just
Yeah.
say he's not. And now you let a guy that could maybe get you close to the Super Bowl. Let's say Russell Wilson is still at least playing playoff football, worthy football, and he goes somewhere else and then does good, right? Gets the
Yeah.
team to. Then Pittsburgh's going to be like, oh my god, what do we do?
So we're in the same position with our quarterbacks that we're in with our head coach, right? It's like damned if you do, damned if you don't. And that's how we
Yeah,
are, I feel like, with Mike Tomlin. It's like we're like, we love him, we hate him. Oh my gosh. It's like this up and down. And that's what it's like at the quarterback position right now. And I always say it's
yeah,
the most Steelers problem to have because if Justin Fields is on the market, you would like to think that some team is going to just come in and grab him just because he
they would.
maybe,
Yeah,
and it's
yeah,
like same with Mike
yeah.
Tomlin. If Mike Tomlin's on the market, someone's going to grab him.
Oh yeah,
So
that's instant. Yeah,
yeah, so it's like I said, it's the most Steelers problem to have right now. And usually we don't have the problem with our quarterback. Usually it's like a linebacker or an offensive lineman or receiver that we're having these conversations about. This is the first
yeah.
time we've had it with a quarterback. It's
To
kind of funny.
yeah, to me it'd be different if he was a rookie, or at
Yeah.
least second year. I'd say, hey, he still has 3 year on his deal. Like he could sit another year. Let's say you want to like pay Russell one more year, right, to see if maybe he can get you
Yeah.
maybe he has one good year, like another good year in him. But you're not in that situation. Like that's
Not
the bad, and
it's
like
high
that's why the
risk, high
Falcons thing is
reward.
like mind boggling. Now,
Oh
mind you,
gosh.
he's a rookie, but he's
Yeah.
an old rookie. So by the time he gets a chance, now mind you, it could work out where the Falcon, like Kirk Cousins, doesn't work out and they just eat it. They eat the contract. You know
Maybe.
what I mean? If they really feel like, and that could very well happen, or Kirk Cousins gets injured. You know what I mean? And
Well,
Penix comes in and is the guy that they think he's going to be, and then they
so
say, you know what? Now you're the backup,
see,
expensive
okay, so
backup. I
my
don't know.
issue is this. What happens if because Kirk Cousins, from what I've heard, I could be wrong. I'll talk to a Falcons fan and ask them. I haven't had the chance to yet. What if Kirk Cousins isn't ready for the first 6 or 7 games? I think that's what people are saying. And Penix is like 4-2. Like you
Is that what they said? Or is he hurt?
they,
I didn't even
yeah,
see.
he tore his Achilles last year. He's 35.
Oh, that's right. Late in the season too.
Yeah.
So what if Penix comes out firing and he's just the guy?
And he's amazing. What do you do? And then
You keep Penix in.
yeah. So it's like now you're
Absolutely.
paying a $40 million backup to it's anyways, I don't know what I don't
You'd
know.
have to. I mean you'd have to make that. That's a but that's a stupid decision the GM made. But
Stupid.
that's what you got to do. I mean, I don't know. Like Buffalo had that problem years ago when we paid. At that time it was a lot of money, but to Rob Johnson.
Mm,
And he got outplayed by Doug Flutie, and I was so pissed that Rob Johnson was our quarterback. But they forced Rob Johnson in the playoffs because they were paying him so high, and I thought that was fucking bullshit.
mm,
Like Flutie like the team rallied behind him. Like he was just a different kind. I'm not saying Flutie was like Jim Kelly, but he was playing the best football for us at that time. And Rob Johnson was not very good.
Got it.
And because they were paying him big bucks, the GM basically forced the coach's hand and told him, oh, yeah, Rob Johnson's going to play. Like, and we, of course, that was the miracle in Tennessee, whatever. Like,
Oh gosh. The
you
Bills,
know,
you know what? Whenever they finally break through and win the Super Bowl, F it. I might come to the parade. Like at this point.
God, I told you. I mean, wide right, miracle in Tennessee. We the catch by DeAndre Hopkins over four guys. You know, like it was just like it just doesn't fail, man. As
No.
you know, like everything happens, man. But anyways, yeah, that was a Music City Miracle. I can't believe it's a Tennessee Miracle.
Yeah.
Music
Well,
City Miracle.
it's been nice talking to you. There's
Yeah, no
nothing
problem.
better than talking to a fan about their team. I don't care what anybody says. That's the real football talk is
Yeah, yeah.
tell me why you love them and tell me all the things I should know. So I just appreciate you taking the time and just engaging with me. And you've been amazing.
Thank you.
So if you don't mind, can you tell everybody where they can find your channel and what you do as far as talking all things Bills?
Yeah. So YouTube Mafia Sports Report right there, as you can see. So just go to Mafia Sports Report, subscribe. We're the channel's growing. We also have on Tuesdays, if you like wrestling, pro wrestling, that is. We have a Nuclear Heat Wave Wrestling podcast. They talk WWE, AEW, all the wrestling on Tuesday nights. I also got other content creators that go on Wednesday, which is Mafia Talk. So I'm still building the channel, still bringing fresh faces, fresh voices to the channel. So yeah, definitely subscribe. If you want to talk to me on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Tommy Talks Bills. I'm there. Go ahead and hit follow me, and I'll follow you right back. And that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thanks for all the tips and tricks you've given me. I think we need more people like you that will help people like me that are learning and trying to figure things out. So I just
No
wanted to
problem. No
publicly
problem.
thank you for that.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. Good luck and everything you do.
Thank you.
You're welcome.